Welcome to Wisdom of the World. Today I'm going to tell a story from Martinique. It is about when things look really bad. The story is called Madame Keleman, and it goes like this. Once upon a time in Martinique, a very poor woman gave birth to her 14th daughter. And of course, so many children. How was she possibly going to feed them? Already her food cupboard was empty. So, in order to, maybe I should say, get rid of the child in a way that God wouldn't notice it, she would send her daughter in the jungle and basically ask her to do some impossible things. So one day she pretended to put 4 coins in a mango pit. That was the only purse they had in those days, poor people. And the girl just took a pit, and the mom had said, go buy some butter. And the kid went wherever you would go on such a day to buy butter. And so the girl, walking and daydreaming, soon got lost. She didn't know the way ahead. She didn't know what was behind her. Everything was just one child fantasy. And when nightfall came, she met an old lady. And the old lady, who was all honey, sweet as anything, invited her to her house, her hut rather. Her hut was made of straw and feathers with a coconut roof. And the girl said, Madam, I'm lost and I'm really hungry. And the lady, who everybody else in Martinique would call a witch, but the girl didn't know that. She didn't know anything. As a matter of fact, the things she didn't know were way bigger than the things she did know. So the lady said, please find me something to drink. I'm so thirsty. Get some water from the spring, and then I will give you some food. So the girl went and took up, a calabash and got water from the spring and fed it to the lady. And the lady said again and again and again. And the more this lady poured water into that mouth that, it just didn't seem to lessen her thirst. Her throat was like a burning desert. It could have anything. Then the girl said, I'm just so hungry. And the lady said, you know what? Find out what my name is, and I will feed you whatever you want. And then she disappeared. So the little girl, there was a lamp, a candle still flickering, gave some light. She stayed around there and she looked and she looked. She couldn't find it. And then she started to cry. And she cried so loud, and the tears were so big that they awoke a big snake. And the snake came up to her, even touching her leg, as if to comfort her. And the snake said, there are forest creatures out there that know her name. Go and ask them. So, although it was pitch dark, but a little bit light of the moon, she went into the forest and she asked 2,000 rats and fleas and toads and possums and whatever other creatures lived there. Nobody knew her name. So in the end, she sat down, pretty discouraged, near the spring, which was full of little crabs. You know, crabs are always in their thousands. And so she asked the crabs, do you know the name of this lady? And all the crabs just sang this song all at once, and they said, La Madame Keleman, Bradiman Keleman, La Madame Keleman, Bradiman Keleman, La Madame Keleman, Bradiman Keleman, La Madame Keleman, Bradiman Keleman. And then she says, oh, thank you. Can you also, help me find my home? But these crabs had more claws than brains. So they still answered her with the same song, La Madame Keleman, Bradiman Keleman. And the little girl got bored and fed up with that, so she slowly made her way back to the hut. Now in the morning, the lady showed up again and says, well, do you know my name? And the lady just sat down in that rocking chair that was there, and with a certain dark enjoyment, because this was her game. She would ask innocent people that lost the way, and she would ask them to come, and she would offer to help them if they found out what their name was. Of course, nobody ever did, and if they couldn't, then she would eat them. And she told this girl, she says, do you know my name? And she says, yes, I know it. And then she said, okay, I'm listening. If you don't tell me right now, I'll eat you up. Now the girl got so scared that she totally lost her memory. And she says, she started guessing, and she said, Charlotte, Geneviève, Thérèse, Dominique, whatever. And she just couldn't remember at that point. And the lady didn't really bother anymore to hide her true identity. Her teeth were as big as a bull's, and there was hair all over herself, and her feet had turned into hoofs. And then just as the lady was getting ready to lift herself out of the chair to get the girl said in no time, La Madame Keleman, Bradiman Keleman, La Madame Keleman, Bradiman Keleman, La Madame Keleman, Bradiman Keleman, La Madame Keleman, Bradiman Keleman. And then the lady turned around and soft pulled her hair out and said, you beat me, you beat me. And she fed the girl with whatever there was edible in that hut. At the same time, she was furious, and she picked up her knife and she went into the forest. And she made such a racket that all the creatures of the forest just stayed away as far as they could, and she couldn't find any of them. Till she came into the savannah outside of the jungle, and there she met a 3-horned bull. And she said, it's you who knew my name, it's you, I must have told it. And the bull said, no, I don't even know your name. But anyhow, just to be mean, the lady pulled out a horn and left. That's why bulls have only 2 horns now. And a little later, on the other end of the savannah, she met a 5-legged mule. And the same, she accused that mule. The mule said, no, I don't know, I haven't done this. And also there, she just yanked off a leg of the mole, which is why they have 4 legs now. And she went back into the forest, and she stopped by the spring, and there she saw the crabs, and she said to the crabs, it is you who have told my name to the little girl. And they were just swinging and celebrating, and they said, yes, you bitch. Yes, you mean, woman, it is us who have done that. And so the lady got even more furious, and she put the flat side of her knife down on those crabs. But the crabs kept going. They kept saying her name. And then everybody in the whole jungle knew their name. And she realized that she could never ever play that game again of luring innocent bystanders and asking them to guess their name. And then she tripped in her fury, and she fell flat down on the earth that just opened up and closed again, like the Bible of fate would. And the moment that happened, the girl was finishing her meal in the hut, and the whole hut, everything changed. All the straw, all the feathers, everything changed. And all the toads became little girls, and all the snakes became little boys, all them that she had trapped before. And so the story goes that a little girl lived happily after with the serpent, who turned out to be a handsome boy. If you have any comments on this story or suggestions for another one, let me know. Thank you.